Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're going to be talking about this Identity palette from Persona Cosmetics. I've been seeing this palette all over Instagram for the past year. A ton of my Instagram friends absolutely love it, so when this palette went on sale for Black Friday, I ordered it and I'm very excited to be testing it out. If you know me, you know I love eyeshadow palettes. This one in particular is very cool because it was created by a YouTuber. Her name is Sona Gasparian. This is her. Isn't she pretty? She looks gorgeous. You go, girl. You go, Sona. She's not one of these multi-million subscriber beauty gurus. I'd actually never seen her channel until I ordered this palette and I looked her up on YouTube. Aside from being super gorgeous, she seems very genuine, very sweet, very down to earth, so I'm excited to see more from her. I'll definitely be watching more of her channel. But for now, let's talk about her eyeshadow palette. This is the Identity palette. It is the only item for sale from Persona Cosmetics. It's available on the Persona website, and you can also find this at Ulta now, which I think is just so awesome. It's very exciting to see indie brands and new people coming up in the industry. This palette retails for $32, and as of the time that I'm filming this, the Persona website only ships to the US and Canada. The site offers free shipping over $40, which means you have to order 2 palettes to get free shipping. The website says that this palette is cruelty-free and made in the US. This is the little cardboard carton that the palette comes in. Nothing too exciting. I don't really mind that it's just a plain, basically plain white box. I would rather be paying for quality in the palette instead of in the carton, so this is just a non-factor for me. The palette itself has some really beautiful hand-drawn cover art, and the shade names are printed on the back. They are also printed inside the palette, which I love. This palette is a heavy-duty cardboard and it has a magnetic closure. There's a decent sized mirror in here. This does not come with a brush or an applicator of any kind. It contains 12 eyeshadow shades, 6 are mattes and 6 are shimmers. I am wearing the palette on my eyes today, so I'll show you a quick little tutorial after I show you the swatches. First, we're gonna do both finger and brush swatches. I'm just gonna be swatching on the back of my hand with no primer. I'll put the finger swatches on top and then the brush swatches below. For my brush swatches, I'll be using my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush, and I'll clean off in between each shade using my Veramona color switch. Here's the top row from the palette. First, we have this very pale peach matte shade called Humble. Next, a shimmery bright white. This as an inner corner highlight is absolutely stunning. This one's called Sassy. Next, a shimmery gold called Gold Digger. And lastly, this beautiful shade called Seductive. This is like a silvery pink. Very, very pretty. And as you can see, the brush swatches are standing up to the finger swatches. These brush swatches are really impressing me. Here's the middle row of the palette. First, we have 2 matte transition type shades. The first is a warmer brown called Charming. Then we have a cooler brown. This one's called Maverick. Next, a shimmery khaki olive green called Bombshell. And lastly, one of my favorites in the palette, this is a shimmery bronze, and this one's called Goddess. Here's the bottom row in the palette. Can we just take a moment to look at these brush swatches? They look just like the finger swatches. I mean, this shade is incredible. First is this orangey red called Audacious. This is a matte. Next, a matte mauvey purple called Chic. Then we have a shimmery brownish purplish eggplant type color. This is called Bossy. And lastly, this insanely pigmented matte dark brown called Fearless. Just look at that. I mean, come on. Now that you've seen the swatches, let's jump into the tutorial using this palette, and then I'll wrap up all my thoughts at the end. No surprise here, I'm starting off by priming my eyes with my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, and then I'm going to set that eye base with the lightest matte shade in the palette. It's the pale peachy shade called Humble. Then I'm going to get to work on my crease shade. I'm using the shade Charming, and this is pretty dark if you have really fair skin like me, so I just picked up the teeny tiniest bit on my brush, and you can see the pigmentation is definitely there. I want to add some more warmth to the crease, so I'm using the shade Audacious on a slightly smaller fluffy blending brush, and I'm focusing that more on the outer part of my eye and blending it into my existing crease shade. Then I'm going to use the shade Fearless on a small fluffy brush. This is really pigmented. I barely touched that shadow and look how dark that is. It's insane. Then I'm going to go back with Charming. That's the original transition shade that I used. And I'm just going to blend all of those colors together so that they look nice and seamless. Now for my all over lid color, I'm using the shade Goddess, and I'm applying that with my finger, just barely tapping that on, and look at that foiled bronzy metallic goodness. I'm going to use Charming again, this time on a pencil brush, and I'm just going to sweep that along my lower lash line to add some balance to this look. I felt that this look was just a little bit too dark for me, so I took the shade Gold Digger on my finger again and just patted that all over the Goddess shade, and I really liked how that combo came out. Now for the inner corner, I'm using the shade Sassy. This is such a gorgeous bright white inner corner. I absolutely love it. Then I just curled my lashes and added a little bit of my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara, and that's my finished look. I think you already know what I'm gonna say. I am very impressed by this palette so far. It swatches incredibly, it performs incredibly. I think there's a really gorgeous shade range in here. These kind of shades are gonna be go-to everyday type of shades. I love that it's evenly split between mattes and shimmers, so you could definitely do a really quick, simple, all matte, very work appropriate kind of eye, but there are these little pops of fun. This bright reddish orangey shade, the purples and the khaki green are the perfect additions to this palette. They add a little bit of fun, a great way to get a diverse range of looks, but they're all still really approachable. I think these shades are going to be flattering on a lot of skin tones. As far as the quality goes, I do think the shimmers are just a little bit better than the mattes. However, very impressed by these mattes, especially that super dark brown shade called Fearless. So pigmented. It felt texture-wise almost like a Lorac Pro shadow, which if you've watched my channel, you know those are some of my favorite shadows. I think this palette is absolutely worth the $32. So usable, great quality. I'm just really, really impressed. I don't know Sona. I've never met her. Like I said, I never saw her until I ordered this palette and I looked it up on YouTube. But I have to say, props to you, girl. This palette is really, really high quality. I think a lot of people could enjoy it and get tons of use out of it. If Persona comes out with another eyeshadow palette, I will be there to order for sure. I know I mentioned a lot of my Instagram friends talking about this palette. Otherwise, I really haven't heard too much about it. I think this is a highly underrated product. I'm so glad that I picked it up, and I can say with confidence, I recommend that you check this out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this palette. I'd also like to hear what you think are some underrated products that are great, are your go-tos, and you just don't think they get enough hype. I love to check out your recommendations. You guys never steer me wrong, so thank you so much for commenting and for giving me all of your great tips. I so appreciate you. Thanks for spending some of your time here with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Those swatches though. Look at this hair. Like Dennis the Menace over here. I had another video that I wanted to film today, but I don't think there's gonna be time. Dang it. The Persona palette, identity palette. How many times did I call it the Persona palette? I guess technically it is the Persona palette since it's the only palette that they sell, but it's called the Identity palette. Get it right. You had one job. Ooh, damn it. Let's just make it worse and see what happens. It's so staticky too. I think it's from putting the sweatshirt on. Oh, check out this sweatshirt. It says unicorns are my favorite. My sister got it for me for Christmas. Isn't it awesome? I love it. Comfy clothes for life. Okay, I'm gonna go do something productive, hopefully. Probably not. We'll see.